Okay, gonna make another video here. Just want to tell you before we get started that I was looking through my purchases on Amazon and I saw where now I own all of Donald Marshall's books. This book right here is very good. Just went ahead and ordered it. I mean, these books are like $3 off of Amazon. Really? I mean, it's a no-brainer. But anyway, it's dated March 17th, 2016. I'm pretty sure that that's 2016 was the last time he's been seen. He has not been seen since 2016. So I had said earlier it might be 2013, but no. The years run together for me. It's 2016. So this book, Exposing the Illuminati's REM-Driven Human Cloning Subculture, Volume 1, and I believe there's a Volume 2 that I got on a Kindle. So I tried to purchase the ones I didn't have. This is just to kind of give you an idea of what is actually being discussed in these books. It says how REM-driven clones are activated. In other words, how they activate. I've covered this in a previous video. Why Donald Marshall can talk publicly about the Illuminati after visiting the cloning centers, because he's a witness. He's a witness. That's why he can talk. REM-driven cloning, duplicate cloning, and replication cloning explained. So there's a few different ways they do it. The real Donald Marshall is not with the Illuminati members physically. It's his clone that's with them. The reality of REM-driven cloning, REM-driven clone activation and distance. The Illuminati members do not use teleportation device to travel to the cloning center. How Donald Marshall gets to the cloning center and from home. His consciousness is transferred. The effects via a chip in his head. It's done by chip. The effects of REM-driven clone torture on a person's original real body. He claimed after getting all of his memories back all at one time that it made his heart weak. The side effects of REM-driven clone torture, kind of like what they did to Bernie Mac. Dying as an REM-driven clone and dying in a person's natural-born original body, which is what happened to Bernie Mac. The difference between replicated clones and duplicated clones. Differences explained: torturing replicating clones versus torturing duplicating clones. How the original real Donald Marshall is threatened. Cloned celebrities, media, and popular culture. He's going to name names, people. He's going to name names, and in one of the books I've got, he's naming quite a few. REM-driven cloning and fame. How they're tied together. Why setting an alarm to avoid REM sleep and REM-driven clone activation does not work. No, but you can drink a lot of tea before you go to bed, which is healthy for you, and it'll make you wake up in the middle of your dreaming and pee. Speaking of which, we might as well go ahead and say, if you're dreaming, you can probably figure the rest out. Where is the hard evidence for human cloning, REM-driven cloning? Currently, evidence for human cloning, REM-driven cloning is circumstantial evidence. The mentality of the Illuminati members and the Illuminati better technological advantages. Technological allow the Illuminati to escape detection with hard evidence. REM-driven cloning is the main topic, which truly exposes the Illuminati. The difference between dreams and REM-driven clone activation. Let's go there. Page 23. Let us go there because we might as well get to the bottom of that right there. And now Donald is only writing a couple of pages on each one of these subjects, sometimes not even a page, and then promises more information later, like one of the things he doesn't like to talk about is the alien phenomenon. But he does tell you where to go to get that. And, you know, the Schneider, Phil Schneider, is the go-to guy on that. Personally, you know, is it possible that these are chimeras? Same as we are. Yeah, I'm talking about Illuminati Allahs. When they say we're all gods, okay? First of all, God is dog spelled backwards. Make sure that you get that distinction. Because God isn't anything. That word God is nothing, okay? Even they, you know, enjoy a form of creation. It isn't good creation. It's a bad creation. It's where their creation has to do with taking what is existing beyond their understanding and mixing them, always coming out with poor examples. In other words, anything that they mix is always tainted. Now, they did this for money, okay? They did it for hopefully getting worship from you, to treat them like they're something special, which explains why the O negatives think that they are gods, why they think they are better than us, why they think their blood is the blood that saves all, why they think they can do whatever they want, including murder, okay, to protect their dirty asses. And remember, I've told you I've been watching the 100. 7 seasons, sometimes 16 episodes. Ridiculous amount of programming. In all essence, I can sum this up for you, okay? I can make it real simple. The producers of the show have said, have answered the question, who the 100 are. The 100 are the O negatives. They're referred to as the sky people. They have various other people. They've got one group living under the ground that they deal with in the first 2 seasons, where they literally kill all of them. Then they meet in the next 2 seasons. They're going to have what they call the grounders. That's going to be your beast types and your tree people. And then again, of course, it goes up the ladder from there. But it's always ridiculous. It's always chock full of the technology they have, we don't know about, we're just now finding out about. And in the end, when they have the opportunity to ascend to be with a conglomerate of people who are ascending that are part of a hive mind, They have to be judged by a God that seems to be as uncaring and as you know, uh, concerned about the human race continuing on as as anybody. And of course, the main character, Eliza is the actor's name that comes up at the beginning of the credits. Every single episode, she's on every single show. Kills her best friend, the one guy that probably could have helped her out, but she couldn't figure it out. That took responsibility for the whole group and was not allowed to ascend. See, if you are paying attention in your, let's just go there. It's just easier to go there than it is to do anything. Let's go to Targum of Palestine. Here we go. Okay. Tells you right here on the first page. Now pay attention. Pay attention. Okay, so we know that the sun and the moon count the days differently. Clearly, we have a 7-day thing that Inky set up where he wanted people to, have their Sabbath on the 7th day. The first day of the week is supposed to be Sunday in the Gregorian calendar, and now we've got the beast law who is going to hunt the 7th day, Sabbath people down. I had on my, let's see, I don't have it today, my flat earth insignia on my jacket the other day, and I had a student who actually asked me, said, what is that insignia? And so, I said, well, I'm just going to explain what I know to be the truth. I said, well, that's the sun and that's the moon. And the fact that they are going, okay, and going and going and going and going and going and never having, the sun never having rest. The sun never has rest. Now, you can make a case for the moon that it rests 2 days of the month when it doesn't show itself. But, there's an additional body that's in the ground, okay, that's called the smoky sun. And it's what causes the eclipses. And I'm fairly well certain about that now, because even the Freemasons are willing to share that little bit of information with you. So, I'm saying that right there is enough to tell you that the sun doesn't need rest. It's not resting. It isn't resting. So it doesn't matter what day your Sabbath is on. None of that comes from the sun. Now, they had one where they said, let's read the Bible. This is the Essene Dead Sea Scrolls, supposedly. Let's read the Bible. And we say, on the 4th day, let there be lights in the expanse of heaven to distinguish between day and night. Let them be for signs and for festivals, and for the numbering of the account of days, and for the sanctifying of the beginning of the months, and the beginning of the years, and the passing away of months, and the passing away of years. The revolutions of the sun and the moon, and the revolving of the seasons. Bottom line is, if you wanted to count by sevens, there's nothing stopping you from counting by tens and coming up with the same outcome. I'm just saying, there's really nothing stopping you from doing one or the other. The bottom line is do we understand with the flat earth that Copernicus, a Freemason who was known to be a heretic, sold to the world? Sold to the, well, actually sold to the Cataholics, and the Cataholics, being the wickedness that they are, said, ooh, 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 another way for us to deceive. Oh, we can change times and, time law. Let's do that. But that explains why they did what they did by making up these lies about the way that the sun and the earth and the moon all work together, and that there's another uh, light that is referred to in the book of Enoch as Archus that's red, which will explain the smoky god that causes eclipses. Anyway, getting back to this, when you realize that, do you really need to have a Sabbath? Just saying. Now, before we miss the part that I want you to get, I want you to pay attention, because all of it is right here. It's all right here in these two paragraphs. Tells you it was evening and morning, it was day 4, that the sun and the moon were placed. And that's why in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were doing their Sabbath on Wednesday. I did that for a while, and then I decided, you know what? It's just deception, layer of deception, layer of deception, layer of deception, over and over and over again. So, the sun was appointed to the 4th day, along with the moon for that matter, and we don't have a sun and a moon day for sure. But the bottom line is that there's no mention of a Sabbath because of that, because it was placed there. There's just no mention of it. So we don't know that there should be any observance of anything that, the Anunnaki want us to believe. We know that Enki is the one that proclaimed the 7th day because we get that in the Sumerian text. We get it in his own words in his lost book of Enki. But let's look here. So it says that the Lord made 2 great luminaries, and they were equal in their glory, for one less 602 and 70 parts of an hour. And afterward, pay attention, the moon recited against the sun, a false report. She was diminished, and the sun was appointed to be the greater light, to rule the day, and the moon to be the inferior light, to rule in the night, and the stars. Now, it's a whole nother subject, talking about the stars. We can leave that for another time. But what makes the stars appear in the firmament may be something altogether different from what you really think it is. And the reason that they're all stationary may have something to do with, an attack that was perpetrated against the firmament. Anyway, again, all of that is that's left for another video. And it says, and the Lord ordained them in their office and their expanse to give light upon the earth, and to minister by day and by night, and distinguish between the light of the day and the darkness of night. And the Lord beheld and said it was good, and it was evening, it was morning, it was on the 4th day. Okay, so let's go back up to here. It says, and afterwards the moon recited against the sun a false report, and she was diminished, and the sun was appointed to be the greater light, to rule the day, and the moon to be the inferior light. Now, so at one point, they were equal, Moon, recites a false report against the sun. And now what we've got is we've got both solar and lunar people on the earth. We've got the Illuminati in what is this book, or rather this site above top secret. Let's go there. Let's go to above top secret. We might learn something. Let's go there. Above top secret. Hold on 1 second. We'll find it. Give me just a second. It's just going to be a second. Here we go. Dialogue with Hidden Hand. Ugh. Oh, great. So it's not going to give me. Let's see. Okay. So. There we go. Yay. Okay. I've got it. Hidden Hand. Okay. Keywords. Judge. Judge. Not that particular one. Let's look for another one. Well, that might be the one. Let's see. We may have to go to Yahweh. Okay. We're getting there. Okay, since then, Yahweh has confined us as a soul group here within the Earth's astral planes. So within the inside of the Earth, because a plane is a flat surface, and then whatever that constitutes, ground or water, provides the planet. Let's see, let me just back up. Since then, Yahweh confined us as a soul group. Remember, their soul group Lucifer. Here with the Earth's astral plane, which is very constricting and uncomfortable for a being of our wisdom and experience. And we've seen the kind of wisdom, and when we read the kind of wisdom in the Targum of Palestine, it's basically wisdom wise unto evil. You see? That's because of that accusation. You understand what's happening here? It says the Council of Elders gave us a choice to be released against Yahweh's will. But at the cancellation of our contract to serve the planet Earth, or remain and fulfill our assignment and endure Yahweh's self-proclaimed wrath. Now they're talking about Enki, just so you know, when they say Yahweh. That's Enki. We stayed, now listen, but as a karmic relief, as a karmic result, our soul group's confinement by Yahweh, our own individualated souls were given the mandate by the council to rule over Yahweh's people, our physical incarnation here on your planet. So now by this, what this is saying confirms what the book of Revelation says about the dragon. The dragon being the devil and Satan, that is to be put in the pit, right? At the end of the world, right? That's what it says in Revelation. Oh, and a false prophet and the beast will go in there with him. So, so the false prophet could easily be talking about the vicar of Christ, you know, the Pope and the Catholic Church, that when the Geneva Bible was written, everyone knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that what the Geneva Bible was saying was that you know, the Catholic Church was the spiritual problem with the Mystery Babylon, the great mother of all harlots, abomination of the earth. And it goes back to Babylon, the tower, which had that religion of Semiramis and Nimrod. And so that's where all of it started. So this is a battle between Yahweh, the O negatives, and it's a battle between the serpent or the dragon, the RH positives. And really, to be honest with you, the A's and the B's should not even be included in this, because they are the descendants of the hominids, and they shouldn't be included in this at all. So this is a fight between one group and another group, and we're not even included in that group. Though we continually live under, like, I tried to explain this to my daughter. I spent the day with her yesterday, and I told her, I said, where you're going wrong is you're expecting these men that you have babies, you have children with, to rise up to the level of morality that you understand in your heart. But see, they don't have that in their heart. They don't have that kind of morality. They don't have no boundaries. So expecting them to be good in this world is futile. I mean, you will never, ever be able to get that. It's not going to happen. And the reason it's not is because that truth that you have and that you experience, where you have the intuition that you get from the ether, they don't have that. They get something else from the ether, and that is their dead relatives talking to them. But their dead relatives are different. There are disembodied spirits that don't really have any place to go because they're stuck here. And that's what Soul Group Lucifer is telling you. So the real fight is between these RH negative O's, O negatives, who are the Anunnaki. And the RH positives, and by the way, the RH positives outnumber them throughout the world. They were brought here. They volunteered to help, but I don't think that they understood what they were signing up for. So when you see songs, let me just pull it up for you. So when you see songs like this, okay. So when you see songs like this, I'm just going to read this to you. I'm not going to play the song, but you could go and listen to the song and you could hear in Metallica's voice and in their music that this is a real thing that they're concerned with. And this will also explain why they hate Donald Trump so much. Now, before I do this, I also want to cover with you, if you go to Amazon, you're going to see that there is a book there by John Kennedy Jr. I'm not talking about the one that is the fake, false John. I'm talking about the real one. The false one was Aristotle Onassis' son, George Onassis. He's still alive today, and the false Donald Trump, you know, is forever talking about him and promoting him, like they're going to bring him back as a potential, you know, vice president. This false John, who couldn't be further from, you know, the real John, because he's Greek. If you see enough pictures of him when he was younger, you will see he knew that with his attempt to portray himself as Alexander the Great. Anyway, the real John is my hero, one of my heroes, because he had enough guts, like Donald Marshall, to come forward and say, you know, Donald Trump is my cousin, but Donald Trump died in 1989 in a helicopter accident, and the mob took over his identity and put either a clone or a look-alike in there, just like Paul McCartney. You see, this is what they've been doing. John, who's about my age, says the problem with this government is that they steal identities. Identity theft is the number one problem with this government. And I believe it. So here's a Metallica song. Now just hear what I'm saying, okay? Hear what I'm saying and you'll be able to figure this out. It says, new blood joins this earth, and quickly he's subdued. Okay, who is the new blood that joins this earth? See, you're going to say, well, it's the serpent seed. No. It's not just serpent seed. We saw that in the Anunnaki rock opera, that Marduk had a, let's call her an Indian wife. So what happens is they're making a new race that has not previously lived here before. And these are the Nephilim. And they tend to be giants because they are of the blood of earth women. Earth girls are easy, just like Inky describes in his book. But when they procreate with these women, their children are much bigger. This is where the cesarean section comes from. These are giants. Do you understand? So new blood joins this earth, and quickly he is subdued. Well, he's subdued with a flood, yes. Through constant pain, disgrace, the young boy learns their rules. Talking about the Anunnaki. With time, the child draws in. This whipping boy done wrong, deprived of all his thoughts. The young man struggles on and on. He knows, oh, a vow unto his own. In other words, what is that? You understand what this is? A vow unto his own. Don't get me wrong. They will have RH negatives in their clubs, but they never tell them anything. They will have RH negative women as their wives, and they will never know anything. Huh? Proven fact. It says that never from this day his will they will take away. And then it does, you know, the word, the inky word, right? The Y-E-A-H. And then the chorus, what I've felt, what I've known, never shine through what I have shown. Never be, never see, won't see what might have been. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine through what I've shown, never free, never me. So I dubbed the unforgiving. So guess who the unforgiven are? Guess who the unforgiven are? The O negatives. Let me tell you something. The A and B negatives, they don't own crap here. They don't even care about owning crap. We are the descendants of the hominid people. That's what we are. This is talking about O negatives. And let me tell you something. They own everything here. They're easily the Catholic Church. And it's interesting that they call the Catholic Church cats, and that their only competition ever in the history of the world was another group called the Cathars, which they totally and completely annihilated. Supposedly related to their dogma doctrine of Jesus through Mary. Anyway, they dedicate their lives to running all of his. He doesn't like it, does he? He tries to please them all, this bitter man he is. Throughout his life, the same he battled constantly. This fight he cannot win. A tried man they see no longer cares. The old man, now he's an old man, then prepares to die regretfully. That old man is me. And then he uses the Y-E-A-H word again. Okay? So clearly this is a fight between you guys. We're not involved in this. We don't care about your stinking world that you have created here. We don't care about your stinking money. We don't care. We really just don't care about your inheritance that you think that you're entitled to, even though this place is not yours. We don't care about any of that. So now you know the truth. This is a war between the O's and the Rh positives. I find it just unbelievably interesting that my wife would take Damian Ratliff's kids and basically, leave, which is fine. That's what she wants. And when I asked her why, she said, why would you want to take these kids? And she said, that they're going to protect her. It doesn't sound like that here. But hey, there you go. And when you watch the 100, these people that call themselves tree people, I'm telling you, don't get involved with their dramas. It can do you no benefit whatsoever. There's no benefit for you. Anyway, that's the song. Again, I read this to you. Since then, Yahweh has confirmed to us as soul group, confined us as soul group, Lucifer, here within the astral plane, Earth's astral planes, which is very constricting and uncomfortable for a being of our wisdom and experience. In other words, under the ground. The Council of Elders gave us the choice to be released against Yahweh's will, but the cancellation of our contract to serve the planet Earth or to remain and fulfill our assignment and endure Yahweh's self-proclaimed wrath, we stayed. But as a karmic result of our soul group's confinement by Yahweh, our own individuated souls were given the mandate by the council to rule over Yahweh's people during our physical incarnation here on the planet. Well, there you go. You've got two different stories going on. Which one do we believe? But we see that the deal is that they don't like each other. They don't, their battle is with each other. I don't care about your ridiculousness. I'm not interested in it because I know that as a hominid bloodline that, I don't have to be concerned about you. This is your reality, not mine. Anyway, then it goes on to talk about the coming harvest of souls. So there you go. Now, let me see. Just want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. And I don't know if you noticed that picture I posted on my last video. What you're not seeing there in that picture, and I'm looking at the picture right here, right now. I tried to put this one on, but I don't think I'm going to end up being able to get it. Oh, yes, I will. So now it's going to let me save it as I couldn't save it before as a JPEG, but I'm going to put it up for you this time on this site. And it's the picture where Donald Trump is there with his family. Jared Kushner is there. Ivanka Trump is there, and his, I don't know, third wife or whatever, fourth wife. Uh, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. But anyway, the one from Antarctica. 1, 2, 3 in black. Donald in black. They didn't make him barefooted like, Paul McCartney, but he's grinning from ear to ear, because even though they are there for a funeral dressed in black, Don is there happy, because that clone, which is the death of his second clone, that clone right there died in 2023, just before the end of the year. So now you've got the Pope, who looks, well, really not that happy. We got everybody else there in black because Donald died. Do you understand? It's not the first time the Roman Catholic Church has died. Do you understand? So the real Donald Trump died in 1989, according to John. And then this picture taken last year, where they used this cover story that Donald took back all the gold from the Vatican. So apparently Don is possessed by Marduk. Anyway, I'll put this picture on the new video that I'm making right now, and you can see for yourself that they are dressed for a funeral. I'm not making this up. And in every picture that the Pope took, he looked like he had just, been fired from his job as the vicar of Christ, right? Which we know, even if it was true, there's nothing good about that. Zeus, Jesus, hail Zeus. You understand? It's not something that would be good, you see. And if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, the last one, Russell Crowe plays Zeus. He's just all around disgusting. And then when we read Donald's, books, we get all of this retarded behavior from the Illuminati. So somehow it's all connected. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so much for that. Now, I know I jumped around a little bit, and I do that, and if you don't like it, gosh, you know what? I'm just so sorry. I hope you'll get over it. But again, I'm going to, 23. Dreams is where we have to go back to. The difference between dreams and REM activity at the cloning center. Do you see? That's very short, so just hang with me. This is 3G1. So how does Donald know that it is not his beliefs influencing his dreams? And Donald Marshall answers, the REM-driven clone experience is not like dreams. I haven't had a dream or a nightmare in years. Having REM-driven clone experiences stops a person from having dreams or a nightmare for the night. The person will just walk and talk as a REM-driven clone version of themselves and experience the same earth the person left behind when he or she went to sleep. Furthermore, REM-driven clone experiences are not dreaming. Dreams are fuzzy and incoherent. When I open my eyes as an REM-driven clone, it is clear. In other words, lucid dreaming. And I'm not sure Donald is correct about this. No offense to Donald. I'm just not sure. Anyway, clear like I am talking to you now. And when I am just about to wake up, in my original body, my REM-driven clone drops limp, noodle, as if dead. The REM-driven clone at the cloning center, and my consciousness goes from remembering an experience here on Earth, clear as daylight, at a remote location, the cloning centers, to the moment lasting about a second or two of blurriness before I open my eyes in the original body to experience the world again. Only this time in my original body, clear as daylight. That is the consciousness transfer and how it feels to be an REM-driven clone explained. A person is literally waking up as a clone to experience the same world he left behind when their original real body went to sleep. I don't see how that's possible in an underground facility that you wouldn't understand that's where you were. Something about that doesn't ring true, but hey, it is what it is. Now, I'm going to read from the other book, the table of contents, because this is public figures and their relationship with Donald Marshall as an REM-driven clone. Okay. Here we go. The singer Adele. Seems to me like there's a lot more people involved in this than are in this book, but that's all right. I'm going to give you the table of contents. Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany. Barack Obama, 44th President of the United States. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. Bernard Jeffrey, Bernie Mac, known as Bernie Mac. Beyonce Knowles, Brad Pitt, Britney Spears, Bryan Adams, the singer from Canada, the singer Cher, Chris Brown, Coldplay, the rock band, and with Chris Martin, the lead vocalist, David Letterman. Diana, Princess of Wales, was the first wife of Charles, Prince of Wales, so she was there. Fifi Dobson, Fiona Apple, George Lucas, Hayden Christensen, Hillary Clinton, JonBenet Ramsey, the little girl that was murdered by her family, Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake, Kanye West, Kenny Rogers, Kristen Bell, Kurt Russell, Maroon 5, Megadeth, Michelle Obama, Mila Kunis. Let's see. Lemmy, the vocalist of Motorhead, Muammar Gaddafi, Natalie Portman, Nelly Furtado, Nickelback, a Canadian rock group, Madonna, Nicki Minaj, Oprah Winfrey, Hayley Williams of the rock group Paramore, Prince Charles of Wales, Prince Rogers Nelson, that's Prince. Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Queen Elizabeth, Richard Branson of the Virgin Airlines, Rihanna, Robert Downey Jr., Ron Paul, the congressman, Dirty Old Bastard, the rapper, Selena Gomez, Jay-Z, Lady Gaga, Stephen Harper, the former Prime Minister of Canada, Steven Spielberg, Twyla Tequila, uh, another group, Prodigy, Tony Blair, Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Flo Rida, the hip-hop recording artist, Troy Landry, a TV personality, Vladimir Putin, Whitney Houston, Winona Ryder. Now, if you ask me, that's a very short list. This was written in 2012. That's a very short list, people. It's interesting, though. They've got pictures of all these people. But I just believe that there's way more of these people. Way more. Oh, Will Smith. I think that's going to be the end of the name naming. Many of these people are on the same list with Jeffrey Epstein, which probably means these people, according to what, and again, I'm recommending that you go and you look up John Jr., John F. Kennedy Jr. I'm recommending that you go look that up. I will tell you this. I'm looking right now on his Amazon page. The name of the book is Stolen Identity, Unveiling the Real John Kennedy Jr. Says his jaw-dropping memoir by the real John F. Kennedy, who was replaced by a body double in a scheme to embezzle billions of Kennedy dollars for organized crime at the age of 9, referred to as John by the mafia. The public persona of JFK Jr. was counterfeit, enjoyed a life of wealth and privilege simultaneously, and genuine son of the assassinated president, endured a heartbreaking existence marked by neglect, torture, and poverty. Says, prepared to be astonished as the author reveals gripping accounts of corrupt government, secret societies, MK Ultra murder, and monumental theft. This life-changing autobiography will permanently alter the reader's perception of the American government, politics, and the true fate of the Kennedy family. Now, it's interesting that this guy can get a book deal and sell his book on eBay and Amazon. But Barbara O'Neill's book has been banned by the World Health Organization. Let me tell you something. If you're on TikTok and you can see any word that comes out of Barbara O'Neill's mouth, I want you to write it down as gospel. Okay? Because whatever she says about health care, about the lies of Big Pharma, the mafia doctors, to just whatever. Whatever she says is gold, literally dripping out of her mouth nonstop. I don't care what she says. Take it as gold. Now, you can't even buy her book. There is a place online where you could find it on TikTok, where they have a link where you could go and put the link in and buy it. But you won't find it just anywhere. Her latest book on the secret of, all health. But I'm going to tell you what it's going to be. I can tell you right now what it's going to be because I actually take it. I actually take it. I've mentioned it here before. In fact, let me see if I've got a... Hold on one second. Okay. Okay. This is what it looks like. Yeah. I want you to look at the ingredients. The third line of ingredients starts off with the word shilajit. This is Ayurvedic medicine. And you can call a number, but I'd rather you look it up online. It's called Infla, INFLA -650. And like, I don't care what your pains are. I have yet to find people that will not agree that it gets rid of their pain. All the way down to my mechanic, who literally is my age, and he gets up and down from under cars all day long in whatever weather because he doesn't have an indoor place. He works out in his front yard. He is an RH positive, whom even though he has his problems, and I've seen them, he is a hero of sorts. He's kept people's cars going that would never be able to afford to pay to have their cars continually running at a dealership. And he's just a great guy. And one morning he was getting up from under a car, and I saw him turn flush red. So I gave him one of these, and I said, I'm going to stick around for 20 minutes because I want to ask you before I walk out, how are you feeling? And sure enough, 20 minutes went by, and he says, I don't have no more pain. So this is the way it usually works for most all people. I give it to. Now, it is herbal, and you have to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, and you try to swallow it, you won't be able to get it down your throat, and it's going to end up, because if you've ever had herbal capsules caught in your throat, it's going to burn you, and you're never going to do it again. But again, it is not my job to cure you, okay? If you have belief in the product, your pains will go away. They tell you can take, I think, up to, 3 a day? But I take them sparingly because I don't need them all the time. I mean, it may take me 3 months to use up a pack, and I give more away than I actually take. So, do what you want to about that. Again, I have shown you the packaging. I guess I dropped it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I guess I dropped it. But, oh, again, Infla 650. And there's several ingredients, including ashwagandha, papali, gaduchi, gakshura, sunthi, shilajit fenugreek. It's Ayurvedic. It's Indian. But there's no question about it. Shilajit is the main ingredient in it. So you can certainly get some relief from that. That much I can promise you. Anyway, let me just check my time here. We're getting close. So I wanted to read from Donald's book that I was reading from before. And I'll get around to reading these other ones. Let me just find it. Here we go. Yep. So, the deplorable nature of the Illuminati. My own family has been turned against me. One by one, the Illuminati have told my family members when they were REM-driven clones at the cloning center things such as I secretly hit or molested their children, poisoned their pets when the pets died of sickness, and other such things to make my own family hate me and not want to help me, even when my family side with me there at the cloning center, the REM-driven clones themselves, and my family members say they do not believe that Donnie did all those horrid things, which they have been told. Elizabeth then says, "Are you cooling me, Elia?" in her disgusting, croaking voice, made as low as and evil sounding as she can make it, complete with psychotic and malevolent glare. He has said she's retarded in 7 ways. And as terrified REM-driven clones, my family say, no, no, of course, what you are saying is true. Shuddering and afraid as REM clones. My mother, Catherine McMahon, sold me into REM-driven sex and torture cloning, slavery, when she remarried a man named Gordon Cohoon. Gordon's whole family is in the scummy secret society. His brothers Tom and Tony, his sister Darlene and Bernadette Cohoon, they fear the new and improved lie detector test, and all it would take is for an independent source far removed from any association with the Illuminati to administer these lie detector tests on me and the above named people to prove this unequivocally. Halfway through the making of my original disclosure document in 2011, when I went to sleep that evening, the Illuminati transferred my consciousness to my REM-driven clone and introduced me to a man who was also an REM-driven clone named Troy Landry. Now, I read his name earlier from another book. He is an alligator trapper from Louisiana on the TV program Swamp People. Troy Landry said, if I send my original disclosure out to the public, then he would take a power drill to my shin bone at the cloning center and shuck the marrow from my REM-driven clone's bones. It is similar to spinal tap, and one of the worst things you can do to an REM-driven clone besides burning an REM-driven clone. I told Troy that I will be sending out my disclosure to public because I have to escape the cloning center, and so Troy Landry did just that. It was excruciatingly painful. All the REM-driven clones that were sat in the stands of the arena just watch, slack-jawed. Troy Landry is an insatiable child molester and an extra retarded REM clone. A side effect of REM-driven cloning is that as an REM-driven clone version of yourself, your emotions are heightened and you are less smart as if you are when you are experiencing the world in your original body. Nevertheless, Troy Landry is extra retarded as an REM-driven clone. And, you know, this is what we told you about Britney Spears, right? She has to have a handler handle her because in her replicated clone state, she's a danger to anyone that can get their fingers near her mouth. In Louisiana, when Troy sees a young boy that he likes, Troy asks the boy's name and tells the boy he is an alligator hunter. Troy then proceeds to shake the boy's hand. Troy then has his pedophile friends at the local cloning center find the boy's blood records to grow duplicate clones of the boy. 5 months later, there are multiple REM-driven duplicate clone bodies of the boy grown for Troy Landry to victimize before the crowd of onlookers. As members of the Illuminati do this, it's just a way of life to them. They consider themselves privileged people in the world of organization. Almost all the cast of the Swamp People television program attending the cloning centers as REM-driven duplicate clones of themselves when they go to sleep. After putting a power drill to my shin bone, Troy Landry asked me, will I send my original disclosure out? And I said, yes. To which he replied, I'll do the same to your pelvic bone every day. The pain on my pelvic bone was far worse than when Troy put the power drill to my REM-driven clone's shin bone. I told Troy I had no choice but to inform the public, and so Troy put a power drill to my REM-driven pelvic bone every day. And it is the worst pain ever. You forgot your own name. Where you are, all you know is pain. And you beg God or anything to save you from it. That's probably when Bernie Mac said no. They killed him for standing up for Donald. Another deplorable thing which the Illuminati did in real life is the Canadian government were trying to lower the amount of prostitutes on the street. Elizabeth hates prostitutes, so they had a man named Robert Picton start killing the women and feeding the women to pigs on his farm. The Illuminati had a camera set up in the upper corner of a room in Picton's house and recorded Picton hitting these women over the head with a hammer, a ball-peen hammer. They took the recordings of all 49 of these murders and they all watched them at the cloning center. To be seen as tough as the cloning centers is to watch all 49 of the Picton murders without having it affect your psyche. Elizabeth loves watching the Picton murders, and she says that she has a macabre fascination with death. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper knows all about the conduct of the Picton murders. He has seen all the recordings and cheers on as the rest of them do. If Mr. Picton says anything about his involvement with the Illuminati or the recordings, they will apply a constant electrical current to his REM-driven clone until Picton has a heart attack or an aneurysm in his original body. What happened to Britney Spears? The Picton murders are also the reason Britney Spears lost it and shaved her head bald. She had watched too many Picton murders as an REM-driven clone at the cloning center, and it drove her over the edge. I'll also reference the following songs performed by Britney Spears so that the reader has more collaborating evidence to add to the ever-increasing pile. Search for the video Break the Ice. It's Britney Spears 2009 on YouTube. In the Japanation video, at the beginning of the video, that is a clone cartoon version of Britney Spears being grown in a big, thick tank full of water. 1 second to 7 seconds, I guess. At the 1.32 minutes to 1.43 minutes, Britney walks into the cloning center. This is exactly how the cloning tubes are in real life. They are stacked one on top of the other, each filled with salty water. Britney Spears made this video because she had a fantasy of hers, is to blow up the cloning center. The Illuminati allowed her to release this video because at the time they figured no one would ever figure it out. I have provided the images on the next page. Yep, there they are. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That's a couple of the videos that I already made. These are some of the pictures used. Goes on to talk about her singing about it in songs. And look, she's the original, and it says Y-E-A-H, Y-E-A-H. And look, I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times in one chorus they use that word. Y-E-A-H. So just so you know, is it any wonder where this word Yahweh comes from? See, I thought, well, maybe they're talking about the sun. But no. No. No, the sun is actually the light of the world. Donald Marshall said earlier in this book, they're petrified of doing anything to get in the way of the children of light. And yet, they've, for years been talking about the sun dying for 3 days and being resurrected. And we see now that, April 8th is the date that they're talking about. It's not Christmas like we thought for years. No, because even then it seemed like, how does the sun die? This is not true. But apparently that's what they've got planned. Now, hopefully it will never happen. Just like most of the predictions that we keep hearing about, though, some of them have, COVID definitely happened. So, the retarded, last election definitely happened, where we found out our nothing is legal. And look, there's a person online that has decoded the Geneva Bible. You have to remember that the Geneva Bible was written in Old English. King James changed English, the entire language, for not just generations, but for that, well, what, 500 years? 500 years it's been changed. So that, you know, you wouldn't have no desire to read Old English because, you know, we don't use it anymore. But the bottom line in there, it talks about, you know, principalities and the wicked rulers of, you know, high places. Well, that whole thing in the Geneva Bible is the governments of the world. So that's what they did. Of course, King James didn't want you to read that. Right. Because if you read that, you might figure out who the bastards are. So anyway, it says, yes, Britney Spears and many other celebrities want you to know that they have been cloned. The celebrities are depending on you. The ordinary man and woman, the populace, and I am depending on you to spread this message fast and far. In fact, Elizabeth has said that if any public person speaks out, they will die. Talking about me. Therefore, public figures cannot openly discuss this topic to warn the populace. But see, private people can. So they hint. It is now up to the ordinary man and woman to end this. Furthermore, Elizabeth has a nuclear bomb hooked up at the cloning center, which she can press at any time to wreak havoc on the world unsuspectingly. Thankfully, I managed to convince Elizabeth not to do such a silly thing. I hope you can now understand why everyone is terrified of Elizabeth at the cloning center and why this is a world emergency, and we are depending on you to share and spread my disclosure. Never sell your soul. This physical world, selling your soul is selling you your REM-driven sleep clone. Furthermore, I must discuss an entrapment many up and coming stars fall into. You have most likely heard many public figures say, I sold my soul to the devil, or some variation, I sold my soul. I am now going to address the aspect of selling your souls or selling your soul, which I am sure you have heard many of these celebrities talk about. I'll address this as coherently as I can, because on the surface, selling your soul talk is difficult to contemplate, especially if you consider the soul to be a metaphysical, ethereal, or mystical part separate from your earth body. Moreover, we live in a physical world, so selling a metaphysical aspect of you sounds incomprehensible at first. For the most part, we have little understanding of what a soul is. However, we are told that the soul is part of us which never dies, and it is eternal. It is all that we are, ever were, and ever will be. Now our faiths and beliefs come into question, because if you are an atheist, there is no God. Selling your soul to a bunch of crazy nonsense. From a practical perspective, it also seems difficult to fathom, because if you go on what you have been told you are selling an intangible part of yourself to be used by someone else for whatever they wish. And so if you get into headspace of viewing your soul as something separate from you, or that you are in control of your mind or your body, then again, selling an intangible aspect of you, again, sounds like nonsense, because right now nobody controls you are controlling you. Or rather, so what are you really selling? Thin air. Many up and coming stars think this way when they are confronted with selling their soul aspect. The up and coming stars are blinded by the prospect of being super famous and super rich. And in the moment they are confronted with their selling their soul, they believe these Illuminati people are a group of over-religious zealots, and that they are the up and coming stars are taking advantage of the Illuminati, because the soon-to-be stars do not believe in that movement. It is possible to sell your soul and only consider being super rich and super famous. So the stars sign their souls over, like Dave Chappelle. And then he realized what he'd done. At this point, it is usually too late for an up-and-coming star, because what they have actually sold is the physical world, is the use of their REM-driven clone by the Illuminati. They have sold their REM-driven clone to be used for REM sex by perverse old men and women whenever they enter into REM sleep. Ugh. These celebrities are not memory suppressed either. So whenever they are entering in REM sleep, their consciousness is transferred to their REM-driven clone to be used for whatever the Illuminati wish. Usually sex, as REM-driven clones with dirty and perverse old men in return for a promotion in the entertainment industry, such as a movie role, advertisement, concert gigs, etc. This is very, very sick business. And once these up-and-coming stars get into the business, they are trapped. Now you can begin to understand why many celebrities, although on the surface it appears that they have it all, are depressed and do random and crazy things. It is a cry for help. Their ideological behavior, not all, for the most part, can be attributed to REM-driven cloning. Furthermore, the Illuminati consider selling your soul, the use of your REM clone, a very serious business. They do not joke about this, and there are no returns. Once you have sold the use of your REM-driven clone for promotions, etc., that's it. If you ever make a fuss or want your soul back, in other words, you no longer wish to have REM-driven clone to be used for dirty old men for sex, the Illuminati will kill you by applying a constant electric current to your REM-driven clone until you have a heart attack or an aneurysm in your original body and die. It is that simple. For example, Whitney Houston wanted nothing to do with the cloning center. She said that she would keep quiet. She never wants to be in the spotlight. She never wants to do radio, television. Let bygones be bygones. I'll go my way, you go yours. The Illuminati were extremely angry. They had bankrolled her, and now she didn't want to be their friend or ever associate with them again. She was sacrificed. She was killed with the constant electric current to her REM clone. She had sold her soul in the beginning of her career. In other words, the use of the REM clone earlier in Whitney's career, she had signed that they can use her for REM-driven clone however they wish. I have also seen people say no when confronted with selling their souls. These people are then memory suppressed and will not remember the proposal of their REM-driven experience. The people who also refuse to sell the use of their REM-driven clones sell their souls, are blacklisted secretly, and they will never receive a high-paying movie role, concert, gig, adjustments, etc. If you have ever worked why so many talented people have not made it, they refuse to sell their souls. In other words, the use of their REM-driven clones in exchange for promotions. This is how the entertainment industry really works. Another aspect of selling your clone, in other words, selling your REM-driven clone, is that you are also agreeing to sell your children and your children's children, etc. Your whole lineage to the Illuminati, for the Illuminati to use your unborn children in pedophilia, torture, sex, sports, and other grotesque and ungodly things when they sleep. It is a nasty business. Never ever sell your soul. The lesson is important. Never ever sell your soul. Ever, ever. You will experience the worst nightmare situation ever. In the physical world that has used your REM-driven clone to be used for sex, sports, you'll never have a decent night's sleep ever again. You will always retain a full memory of your REM-driven clone experiences, as well as you will be selling your unborn children into the dirty business. Even when confronted with this as a joke, never sell your soul. Never, ever. The physical aspect you are confronted with when you are asked to sell your soul is you and everything which makes you. Your ideas, your creativity, your privacy, your biology, everything which makes you. You sell your soul, which in this life is currently used for REM-driven clone. Never, ever. I hope that is well received. Interesting. Now, I'm going to cover this. It's going to put me over, but I'm going to cover it because we made it to this. Okay, and it's just one half of a page. So it says fake alien abduction conducted through REM-driven cloning technology. I must add they grow duplicate REM clones of people from all walks of life, and then they transfer the person's consciousness to their REM-driven clone version at the cloning center, while the person's REM-driven duplicate clone is chained down to a stainless steel corpse table. And they pre-inject the REM-driven duplicate clones with drugs before transferring the consciousness, so that once the consciousness has been transferred, the REM-driven clone cannot move. This is the point when they usually send people into the room dressed as aliens. It is a fake alien abduction. It is just these Illuminati people dressed in Hollywood quality accessories, and they make the REM-driven duplicate clones, which have either been chained or to steel corpse tables or pre-injected with drugs, believe that they are having an alien abduction. Members of the Illuminati even dye chicken skin gray and stretch it over a mask for realism and perform experiments on the immobile REM-driven clones. The perverts anally probe them. They rape their limp bodies and do not suppress the victim's memories, so that these victims wake up thinking that they have been abducted by aliens, but in reality they had their consciousness transferred to their duplicate clone versions when they entered REM sleep, and they were violated. The victims do not know where to turn, and naturally they are embarrassed. Some victims even try and do install cameras all around their bedrooms in order to videotape themselves while they sleep, to prove that they have been taken. But to no avail, they have not been taken. They have been cloned, and they had their consciousness transferred to their REM duplicate copies once they enter REM sleep by the most disgusting perverts in the world. The scum even videotape these abductions to watch later as sick, demented porn. These fake abductions are conducted by the Illuminati more often than you can imagine. They just keep doing it to random people all over and over the world. That's going to do it for me. Thank you very much for your attention. I don't know what to say about these perverts other than I hope they die. I would be okay with that. All of them. Talking about the world elite. Thank you very much. Have a great day.